Rain falls in sheets against marble steps. Elena Morrison, 29, 8 months pregnant, designer clothes now soaked and clinging, sits on the curb, her hands wrapped protectively around her swollen belly. A single suitcase lies tipped on its side beside her, its contents spilling into puddles. The building's glass doors reflect her silhouette, small, shaking, abandoned. A service door opens at the side of the building. Marcus Webb, 45, wearing janitor's coveralls, weathered face that suggests he's seen enough of life to have stopped being surprised by it, emerges with trash bags. He stops when he sees her. "Marcus, ma'am? Are you all right?" Elena doesn't look up. Her silence is answer enough. The apartment screams wealth without warmth, all marble and chrome and strategic lighting. Derek Morrison, 34, investment banker, $1,000 watch, $500 haircut, stands by the floor-to-ceiling windows, phone pressed to his ear, his back to Elena. Derek, into phone, laughing, "No, I told you the Singapore deal closes Friday. We're talking 8 figures easy." "Yeah, celebrations already planned." Elena sits on the designer couch, one hand on her belly, the other holding a hospital bill. Her face is pale, exhausted. She's been waiting. "Elena, quiet, Derek, the doctor said I need bed rest. Complete bed rest. The preeclampsia is getting worse and—" Derek, waving dismissively, still on phone, "Hold on." To Elena, "Can this wait? I'm in the middle of something." "Elena, it's been 3 weeks. You keep saying we'll talk, but—" Derek, ending call, turning to face her with practiced patience, "Elena. I'm closing the biggest deal of my career. Do you understand what that means? For us? For our future? Elena, our future? Derek, our baby could. Derek, the baby will be fine. You're being dramatic. You've always been dramatic." He says it casually, as if diagnosing an amusing personality flaw rather than dismissing a medical emergency. Elena has heard this tone before, the one he uses when he's already decided the conversation is over but wants her to think they're still discussing. "Elena, the doctor said if my blood pressure doesn't stabilize, I could have a seizure." "The baby could." Derek, checking his watch, "Then take the medication they prescribed." "Elena, I have been taking it. It's not working. That's why he wants me on complete bed rest, and he mentioned possible hospitalization if—" Derek, hospitalization? Laughs, sharp and short, "Do you have any idea what my schedule looks like right now? I can't be running to hospitals every time you have an anxiety attack." The words land like slaps. Elena's hand tightens around the bill. "Elena, this isn't anxiety, Derek. This is our child's life." Derek, "Oh, here we go. The guilt trip. You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the constant drama, the neediness, the way you make everything about you. Elena," voice breaking, "I'm asking you to help me keep our baby alive. Derek, and I'm asking you to stop being so goddamn selfish." The silence that follows is dense with things that can't be unsaid. Derek's phone buzzes. He looks at it, and his expression shifts, softens in a way it hasn't for Elena in months. "Derek, quieter now, but somehow worse, listen. Vanessa's waiting for me at the restaurant. Important client dinner. I need to go." Elena stares at him. Vanessa. The name isn't new. It's been floating around their marriage for 3 months now, always with plausible explanations. Client relations. Networking. Business development. Elena, who's Vanessa? Derek, I've told you. She's our new account manager. Don't start with the jealousy thing again. It's exhausting. Elena, I'm not jealous. I'm pregnant with your child and scared and... Derek, you know what? I can't do this anymore. He says it suddenly, as if the decision just occurred to him, though the precision of what follows suggests he's been rehearsing. Derek, Siontide, this whole thing was a mistake. You, the baby, this domestic fantasy you built in your head. I never wanted this. Elena, you proposed to me. You said you wanted. Derek, I wanted the version of you that existed before all this. Before you got pregnant and needy and boring. Before every conversation became about doctor's appointments and nursery colors and your feelings. He walks to the bedroom, returns with a suitcase, her suitcase, already packed. Elena, standing, unsteady, what are you doing? Derek, what I should have done months ago. Vanessa's moving in next week. She understands what I need. What my lifestyle requires. Elena, but, where am I supposed to go? Derek, setting suitcase by the door, that's not really my problem anymore, is it? Your name's not on the lease. Technically, you've just been a guest. The legal precision of the statement reveals this isn't spontaneous. He's thought this through. Perhaps even consulted his attorney. Elena, Derek, I'm 8 months pregnant. I have no family. No job. You made me quit my job when we got married because you said. Derek, I said a lot of things. People change. Situations change. Checking his watch again, I need you out before Vanessa arrives tomorrow. She doesn't need to see this drama. Elena, drama? I'm your wife. Derek, a wife. I'm filing for divorce from first thing Monday morning. My lawyer says given the circumstances, your dependency, no financial contribution to the household, the questionable timing of the pregnancy, I'll likely owe you nothing. Elena's knees buckle. She catches herself on the arm of the couch. Derek, Siontide, Jesus, stop being so theatrical. You're fine. You'll figure it out. You always said you were independent, right? Here's your chance to prove it. He picks up his keys, his wallet, his phone, the trinity of his identity. Derek, Siontide, lock up when you leave. I'll have the locks changed tomorrow, so don't get any ideas about coming back. He walks out. The door closes with the quiet, expensive click of German engineering. Elena stands alone in the apartment that was never legally hers, in the marriage that was always conditionally his, carrying a child whose father just walked away as casually as someone leaving a restaurant. She thought she knew the limits of human cruelty. She was wrong. Marcus crouches down to Elena's level, keeping his distance, his voice gentle. Marcus, ma'am, you can't stay out here. The rain's getting worse, and you're noticing her pregnancy, you need to be somewhere warm. Elena, hollow, I don't have anywhere. The simplicity of the statement contains volumes. Marcus, what about family? Friends? Elena, shaking her head, he made me cut ties with everyone. Said they were holding me back from the life we were building together. Marcus recognizes the pattern. He's seen it before, the isolation that precedes the abandonment. Marcus, your husband? Elena, bitter laugh, soon to be ex-husband, apparently. He has someone new moving in tomorrow. Someone who understands his lifestyle better. A contraction hits. Elena doubles over, gasping. Marcus, when's your due date? Elena, 3 weeks. But there are complications. I'm supposed to be on bed rest. My blood pressure. Another contraction, stronger. Marcus makes a decision. Marcus, okay. Listen to me. I have a small place about 6 blocks from here. Nothing fancy, just a basement apartment, but it's warm and dry. You can stay there tonight, and tomorrow we'll figure out next steps. Medical care, social services, whatever you need. Elena, I can't ask you to. Marcus, you're not asking. I'm offering. And before you say no, understand that I've got a 15-year-old daughter at home who would never forgive me if I left a pregnant woman in the rain. So really, you'd be doing me a favor. Elena looks up at him, this stranger in janitor's coveralls offering what her husband in his $1,000 suit refused. Elena, why would you help me? You don't know me. Marcus, no. But I know what it looks like when someone's been thrown away by people who were supposed to love them. And I know that's not something anyone should face alone. He helps her stand, gathers her suitcase, and they walk into the rain together, a pregnant woman with nowhere to go and a janitor with a basement apartment, creating something that resembles hope from the wreckage of her evening. The space is small but immaculate. One bedroom, a pull-out couch in the living area, a kitchen barely large enough for 2 people. But it's clean and warm, and there are books on shelves and photos on walls, evidence of a life lived with attention and care. Jade Webb, 15, observant eyes, her father's quiet dignity already forming, helps Elena settle on the couch, piling blankets around her. Jade, Dad said you're having some pregnancy complications? Elena, surprised by the directness, yes. Preeclampsia. It means my blood pressure. Jade, I know what it means. My mom had it with me. That's actually how she catches herself. Anyway, you need to keep your feet elevated and stay calm. Stress makes it worse. Marcus emerges from the kitchen with tea. Marcus, Jade's read every medical textbook in the library. She's planning on pre-med when she gets to college. Jade, if we can afford college. Marcus, firm, will afford it. There's a certainty in his voice that suggests this isn't wishful thinking but a promise he's been building toward for years. Elena watches them, this father and daughter moving around each other with practiced choreography, their small space somehow containing more warmth than Derek's penthouse ever managed. Elena, I'm so sorry to intrude like this. I'll be gone tomorrow. I just need to figure out. Marcus, you're not going anywhere tomorrow. You heard Jade. You need rest. You can stay as long as you need. Elena, but I can't pay you. I don't have any money. Derek controlled all the accounts, and... Marcus, did I ask for money? Elena, no, but... Marcus, then stop worrying about it. Rest. That's the only job you have right now. Elena starts to cry, not dramatic tears but the quiet kind that come when someone's last defense finally breaks. Elena, I don't understand why you're being so kind. Marcus, maybe because kindness doesn't need a reason. Or maybe because someone helped me once when I needed it, and this is how I pass it forward. Jade, practical, also, there's a women's clinic 3 blocks away. Free prenatal care. I can take you tomorrow if you're feeling up to it. Marcus, tomorrow. Tonight, you sleep. Elena nods, too exhausted to argue, too grateful to articulate it properly. Marcus sits on the edge of his narrow bed, looking at a framed photo on his nightstand. A woman, Claire, smiling at the camera, pregnant, radiant. The photo is 15 years old, but he still looks at it every night. Jade appears in the doorway. Jade, is she asleep? Marcus, finally. She was having contractions earlier. Not regular, but enough to worry me. Jade, we should probably take her to the hospital tomorrow, whether she wants to or not. Marcus agreed. Pause, you okay with her being here? Jade, are you kidding? Of course I am. Sitting beside him, I know what you're thinking about. Marcus, yeah? Jade, Mom. How she might have survived if someone had helped her get to the hospital faster that night instead of Dad having to figure everything out alone while driving. Marcus wraps an arm around his daughter. Marcus, your mom would have liked Elena, I think. Would have wanted us to help. Jade, Mom would have done exactly what you did tonight. That's where you got it from. Marcus, no. That's where you got it from. You're more like her every day. They sit in comfortable silence, 2 people who've learned that sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same thing. Derek sits with Vanessa Chen, 28, sharp suit, sharper ambition, at his dining table, champagne glasses between them. Vanessa, so she's really gone? Derek, finally. God, you have no idea the relief. Like this weight I've been carrying for months just lifted. Vanessa and the baby? Derek, dismissive, not my problem anymore. My lawyer says we can contest paternity if she tries to come after support. The timing's always been questionable. Vanessa, calculating, what if she makes trouble? Goes to the press or something? Investment banker abandons pregnant wife, isn't great optics. Derek, she won't. Elena's too weak, too dependent. Always has been. She'll probably run back to whatever small town she came from and disappear. That's what people like her do. He says it with such certainty, completely unaware that he's fundamentally misunderstood the situation. Vanessa, and you're sure she can't claim any of your assets? Derek, ironclad prenup. My lawyer called it a masterpiece. She gets nothing. Not the apartment, not the car, not a dime. Vanessa, perfect. Raising her glass, to new beginnings. Derek, to upgrading. They clink glasses, celebrating the discarding of a human being as if it were a successful business transaction. Elena wakes to the smell of breakfast. She sits up slowly, disoriented. The apartment is so different from Derek's penthouse that for a moment she can't remember where she is. Then she sees Jade at the tiny kitchen table, textbook spread out, highlighting something while eating toast. Jade, without looking up, bathroom's the second door on the left. Dad's in the shower, so you'll have to wait a minute. There's a robe on the hook behind the bathroom door if you need it. And before you apologize for being here again, don't. It's getting old. Elena can't help but smile. This teenager's straightforward kindness is somehow more comforting than any elaborate sympathy would be. Elena, what are you studying? Jade, organic chemistry. It's actually kind of beautiful once you understand the patterns. Everything connects to everything else, you know? Cause and effect. Actions and consequences. She says it casually, but there's a depth to the observation that suggests she's talking about more than chemistry. Marcus emerges from the bedroom, hair damp, dressed in his janitor's uniform. Marcus, morning. How'd you sleep? Elena, better than I have in months, honestly. Standing, I should get out of your way. You've both done so much already, and... Marcus, we're taking you to the clinic this morning. Non-negotiable. Jade doesn't have school today, teacher development day, so she's coming with us. Elena, but you have work, and I can't ask. Marcus, you're not asking. And I already called my supervisor. Told him I had a family emergency. Which, technically, you are now. Family. Emergency. Both. He says it with such matter-of-fact warmth that Elena feels tears threatening again. Jade, also, you need to eat. Dad made eggs. Marcus, they're probably cold now, but... Elena, they're perfect. Everything here is perfect. She means it. This tiny basement apartment with its second-hand furniture and its kind occupants is the first place she's felt safe in longer than she can remember. The clinic is busy but organized. Marcus and Jade sit on either side of Elena, a protective configuration they've unconsciously formed. Dr. Patricia Okonkwo, 50s, efficient compassion, emerges with a clipboard. Dr. Okonkwo, Elena Morrison. Elena stands, wobbles slightly. Marcus steadies her. Dr. Okonkwo, Siontide, noticing, family coming with you? Elena, there, yes. They're family. Marcus and Jade exchange a quick glance, chosen family counts. Dr. Okonkwo checks Elena's blood pressure, her expression growing concerned. Dr. Okonkwo, this is dangerously elevated. 168/112. Have you been under unusual stress recently? Elena laughs, a sound without humor. Elena, you could say that. Dr. Okonkwo, I'm seeing signs of severe preeclampsia. Given how far along you are, we need to seriously consider early delivery. If we don't act soon, you're at high risk for seizures, stroke, or placental abruption. Elena, but the baby isn't due for 3 more weeks. Won't early delivery. Dr. Okonkwo, at 37 weeks, the risks of staying pregnant outweigh the risks of delivery. Especially given your blood pressure readings. Marcus, what exactly does early delivery mean in this situation? Dr. Okonkwo, induction, most likely. We'd admit her to the hospital, start medication to bring on labor, and deliver within the next 24 to 48 hours. Elena, panicking, I can't afford a hospital stay. My insurance was through my husband, and he. Dr. Okonkwo, we have emergency Medicaid applications. And this isn't optional, Elena. This is about keeping you and your baby alive. The word alive settles in the room like a stone. Jade, quietly, to her father, we can figure out the money part later. Marcus, to Elena, she's right. First, we keep you healthy. Everything else is just logistics. Elena looks at these strangers who keep treating her survival as if it matters, as if she matters, and feels something shift inside her, not gratitude exactly, but a kind of awakening. A recognition that Derek's assessment of her worth had nothing to do with her actual value. Elena, to Dr. Okonkwo, okay. What do we do? Dr. Okonkwo, I'm calling the hospital now. They'll have a bed ready within the hour. You'll need to pack a bag, essentials for a few days. Marcus already handled. Jade grabbed some things from the apartment before we left. Jade, to Elena, just basics. Toiletries, a change of clothes. Figured it was better to be prepared. Elena stares at this 15-year-old who thought 3 steps ahead while Elena was still processing step 1. Elena, how did you know? Jade, the blood pressure cuff reading when Dad did it this morning before breakfast. I knew the doctor would probably want to admit you. So I packed. Marcus told you. Pre-med. Dr. Okonkwo smiles, the first genuine warmth she's shown. Dr. Okonkwo, you've got good people around you. Elena, voice breaking, I really do. Elena is settled in a hospital bed, monitors attached, 4 in her arm. Marcus sits in the uncomfortable visitor's chair, working through a crossword puzzle. Jade is reading her textbook, occasionally glancing up to check the monitors. Elena, you two don't have to stay. I'll be fine and... Marcus and Jade, in unison, stop saying that. They look at each other and laugh, a family joke already forming. Marcus, besides, Jade's staying anyway. I raised her to finish what she starts, and apparently she started taking care of you. Jade, someone has to. You're terrible at sitting still, and hospitals make you nervous. Marcus, true. But I'm working on it. A contraction hits. Elena grips the bed rail, breathing through it. Jade, timing on her phone, still irregular. About 8 minutes since the last one. Elena, between breaths, how did I end up with a 15-year-old as my labor coach? Jade, low overhead and high dedication. Marcus, that's my girl. Selling herself short while being exceptional. The contraction passes. Elena catches her breath. Elena, can I ask you something? Marcus, anything. Elena, why did you really help me? Last night, you could have just called a shelter or social services. You didn't have to bring me home. Marcus sets down his crossword puzzle, choosing his words carefully. Marcus, my wife Claire died when Jade was born. Complications during delivery, same thing you're dealing with, actually. Severe preeclampsia that developed into eclampsia. She had a seizure in the hospital, and by the time they got her stabilized, there was brain damage. She lived for 3 days after Jade was born but never woke up. Elena's hand goes to her mouth. Marcus, Siontide, the thing is, we almost didn't make it to the hospital in time. I was working the night shift, different building back then, and Claire called me, said she wasn't feeling well. I left immediately, but I had to drive her myself because we couldn't afford an ambulance and were scared of the bill. He pauses, the memory still painful after 15 years. Marcus, Siontide, on the way, a guy in a BMW cut me off. I honked, and he brake-checked me. Slowed down to nothing, blocking me in, all because I dared to honk at him. Made me late getting Claire to the hospital. Just 10 minutes, but the doctors said those 10 minutes might have made the difference. Elena Marcus, I'm so sorry. Marcus, the guy in the BMW? Never knew what he'd done. Never knew he'd potentially cost a woman her life because his ego couldn't handle being honked at. Just drove away, probably forgot the whole thing before he got home. Jade, quiet, that's why Dad treats everyone like they might be fighting a battle he can't see. Because most people are. Marcus, when I saw you sitting in the rain, pregnant and abandoned, all I could think was, what if no one helps her? What if she ends up like Claire, alone and scared with no one to make sure she's okay? He looks directly at Elena. Marcus, so indeed, so that's why. Not because I'm particularly good or noble. Just because I couldn't live with myself if I became another version of that guy in the BMW, someone who could have helped and chose not to. Elena reaches out, takes his hand. Elena, you saved my life. You know that, right? If I'd stayed out in that rain, if the stress had continued. Dr. Okonkwo said I was on the edge of a medical crisis. Marcus, then I'm glad I found you when I did. Jade, we're glad. Another contraction, stronger this time. Elena grips Marcus's hand, and he lets her squeeze as hard as she needs. Derek and Vanessa sit at an intimate table, celebrating. Wine, appetizers, the casual excess of people who've never questioned whether they could afford what they wanted. Derek, to freedom. To new chapters. To life without drama. Vanessa, you seem relieved. Derek, God, you have no idea. It's like I can breathe again. Elena was suffocating me with all her needs and emotions and constant demands for attention. Vanessa, the pregnancy must have been difficult. Derek, dismissive, she made it difficult. All this hysteria about complications and bed rest. Meanwhile, she's probably fine. You know how women exaggerate when they want attention. Vanessa nods, though something in her expression suggests she's cataloging this information, noting how Derek talks about the woman he married, how easily he dismissed her concerns. She's smart enough to wonder if she'll be next when she becomes inconvenient. But she says nothing. Just sips her wine and smiles. The contractions are regular now, intense. Elena's been in active labor for 3 hours. Marcus and Jade have maintained their vigil, taking turns stepping out to stretch but never both leaving at once. Elena, between contractions, you should go home. Get sleep. This could take hours still. Jade, not happening. Marcus, what she said. Dr. Okonkwo enters to check Elena's progress. Dr. Okonkwo, you're at 8 centimeters. Won't be long now. How's your pain? Elena, manageable. I didn't want an epidural. Dr. Okonkwo, brave choice. Also medically sound given your blood pressure. Checking monitors, baby's doing well. Heart rate strong. Elena, that's all that matters. Marcus watches this woman he barely knows fight through pain with such determination, and thinks about Claire. About how she fought too. About how sometimes fighting isn't enough without help. But Elena has help now. And that makes all the difference. The final stage. Elena pushes, exhausted, determined. Marcus holds one hand, Jade the other. Dr. Okonkwo coaches from between Elena's legs. Dr. Okonkwo, one more big push. Come on, Elena. You've got this. Elena gathers everything she has left, every ounce of strength, every reserve of will, and pushes. And then, a cry. Small, indignant, alive. Dr. Okonkwo, Siontide, it's a girl. The nurse places the baby on Elena's chest. Tiny, perfect, utterly real. Elena looks down at her daughter and begins to cry, not from pain or fear or relief exactly, but from the sudden overwhelming recognition that this child exists. That despite everything, despite Derek's abandonment and her own terror and all the obstacles that should have prevented this moment, her daughter is here. Elena, whisper, "Hi, baby. Hi. I'm your mom." Marcus and Jade stand back slightly, giving this moment its necessary privacy while remaining close enough to matter. Jade, to her father, quietly, "Mom would have loved this." Marcus, arm around his daughter, "Yeah. She would have." Elena sleeps, finally, her daughter in a bassinet beside her bed. Marcus and Jade prepare to leave. It's been 20 hours since they first brought Elena to the clinic. Marcus, to the nurse, "We're going home to sleep for a few hours, but we'll be back this afternoon. If she needs anything." "Nurse Patricia, I have your number. Don't worry. She's in good hands." Jade, looking at sleeping Elena, "She's stronger than she thinks she is." Marcus, "Most people are. They just don't find out until they're tested." They leave quietly. The room settles into the particular silence of hospitals, machines beeping softly, distant sounds of other lives being saved or lost or simply continuing. Elena's phone buzzes on the side table. She doesn't hear it. The message is from Derek, "Heard from my lawyer you're in hospital. Don't expect me to pay for any of this. You made your choice leaving. Live with it." The cruelty of the message is almost breathtaking in its precision, not just rejecting responsibility but blaming her for the abandonment he orchestrated. But Elena sleeps on, unaware, her daughter beside her, the people who matter having already shown up. Marcus and Jade sit at their small table, exhausted but unable to sleep quite yet. "Jade, what happens when she's discharged?" "She can't go back to that penthouse." Marcus, "She'll stay with us. Long as she needs." Jade, "Dad, we barely have room for ourselves. And with a newborn." Marcus, "Will make it work. We always do." Jade, studying him, "You're thinking about more than just temporary shelter, aren't you?" Marcus, "Maybe." Jade, "Tell me." Marcus, pause, "I've been saving for years. For your college, mostly. But also just, for opportunities. For chances to help when help matters." Jade, "How much have you saved?" Marcus, quiet, $43,000. Jade stares at him. Jade, "That's my entire college fund." "Dad, you can't." Marcus, "Hear me out. There's a small place for rent 2 blocks away. 1 bedroom, affordable. I talked to the landlord this morning. He'd take Elena if she could make first month's rent and deposit. That's $2,400. Jade, "Okay, but..." Marcus, "She needs furniture. Baby supplies. At least 3 months of expenses to get on her feet. Call it another $5,000 to do it right." Jade, "That's still a fraction of what you've saved." Marcus, "True. But if I help her now, really help her, not just emergency shelter, she has a chance to rebuild. Get on her feet. Maybe go after her ex-husband for the support he legally owes. Maybe create a stable life for her daughter." Jade, "And that's worth dipping into my college fund because..." Marcus, "Because I can still save for your college. You're 15. We have time. But that baby is here now, and they need help now. Plus..." Looking at his daughter, "What kind of man would I be if I taught you that education matters more than someone's life?" Jade considers this. She's inherited her father's sense of right and wrong, his instinct to help. But she's also practical, aware that money is finite and opportunities can't always be recreated. Jade, "What if she doesn't pay you back? What if you invest all this money and she just disappears?" Marcus, "Then I'll have helped someone who needed it. That's still a win." Jade, smiling despite herself, "You're either the best person I know or the worst businessman." Marcus, "Can I be both?" Jade, standing, hugging him, "Yeah. You can be both." Elena wakes to her daughter's cries. She lifts the baby from the bassinet, positions her for feeding. The movements are awkward, unpracticed, but determined. Marcus and Jade arrive with bags, food, supplies, a stuffed animal. Elena, you came back. Marcus said we would. Jade, how's she doing? Elena, perfect. Terrifying. Both. Pause, I haven't named her yet. It feels too big a decision to make alone. Jade, what were you thinking? Elena, I don't know. Something strong. Something that means she survived. Marcus, Claire means bright, clear. That's what my wife's name meant. Elena looks at him, this man who lost his wife to the same condition she just survived, who helped her anyway, who kept showing up. Elena, Claire. Testing it, baby Claire. Jade, mom would have liked that. Elena, to Marcus, is it weird for you? If I use her name? Marcus, no. It's an honor. Means she's still helping people, even after all this time. Baby Claire finishes eating, falls asleep in Elena's arms. The peace on the infant's face suggests she knows she's safe. Elena, I need to tell you something. Derek texted. He's not taking responsibility for any of this. The birth, the hospital, nothing. And he's filing for divorce. Marcus expected that. Elena, did you also expect me to fight back? Marcus looks up sharply. Marcus, what do you mean? Elena, steel entering her voice, I mean Derek thinks I'm weak. Dependent. Someone who'll just disappear quietly. But he's wrong. And I'm going to prove it. Jade, how? Elena, Derek made a lot of mistakes. Documented mistakes. Texts where he admitted to the affair. Emails about finances. His Instagram posts showing expensive vacations while claiming he couldn't afford basic child support. She reaches for her phone with her free hand. Elena, Siontide, I've been saving everything. Screenshots. Records. Not because I planned to use them, but because some part of me knew I might need protection someday. Marcus, that's smart. Elena, it's survival. And now I'm going to survive properly. I'm going to get a lawyer, a good one. I'm going to file for full custody, child support, and spousal support. And I'm going to make sure Derek understands that abandoning your pregnant wife has consequences. Jade, that takes money. Lawyers are expensive. Elena, I know. Which is why I'm also going to reach out to my former employer. I was a marketing director before Derek convinced me to quit. I was good at my job. Maybe they'll take me back, or at least give me a reference. She says this with growing confidence, as if speaking the plan aloud is making it real. Marcus, what about childcare while you work? Elena, one step at a time. First, I need housing. Then employment. Then childcare. It's a puzzle, but puzzles have solutions. Marcus, exchanging glances with Jade, what if some of those pieces were already solved? Elena, what do you mean? Marcus, there's an apartment 2 blocks from us. 1 bedroom, affordable. Landlord's willing to rent to you if you can cover first month and deposit. Elena, Marcus, I told you, I don't have money for that. Marcus, what if you did? He reaches into his bag, pulls out an envelope. Inside, a check for $7,500. Marcus, Siontide, first month, deposit, and 3 months of expenses. Gives you time to get everything else sorted. Elena stares at the check as if it might disappear. Elena, I can't accept this. Marcus, yes, you can. Elena, Marcus, this is too much. This is probably everything you've. Marcus, it's a loan. You pay me back when you can. No interest, no timeline. Just, pay it forward someday when you're able. Elena, why would you do this? Marcus, because you're going to fight back. And people who fight back deserve ammunition. Elena looks down at her daughter, then at the check, then at Marcus and Jade, this family that formed around her in her darkest moment. Elena, voice thick, I'll pay you back. Every cent. With interest, whatever you say. And I'll. Jade, stop talking and say thank you. Elena, laughing through tears, thank you. God, thank you both so much. Marcus, you'll do great. I know you will. And looking at Elena's face, the determination there, the steel that's replacing fear, he believes it. 3 months later. The small space has been transformed into a home. Baby Claire sleeps in a second-hand crib. Elena sits at a desk in the corner, laptop open, professional clothes on. She's on a video call. Elena, to her screen, yes, I can start the contract work immediately. Remote is perfect for my situation. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Jennifer. She ends the call, allows herself a moment of relief. Her old employer didn't just give her a reference, they hired her back as a freelance consultant. 30 hours a week, flexible schedule, enough to support herself and Claire while building towards something bigger. A knock on the door. Marcus and Jade with groceries. Jade, we brought supplies. And before you say we shouldn't have. Elena, I was actually going to say thank you and offer to pay you back. She hands Marcus an envelope. Inside, a check for $1,500. Marcus, Elena, you don't have to. Elena, first installment. I'll have the rest within the year, at this rate. Marcus, your rent and expenses are covered? Elena, completely. The freelance work pays enough, and I found a childcare cooperative that works with single mothers. It's not perfect, but it's sustainable. Jade, to Claire, who's waking up, hey there, little one. You getting big? Elena watches Jade pick up her daughter with practiced ease. These 3 months have bonded them into something that looks remarkably like family. Elena, there's something else. The divorce proceedings started. Derek's lawyer tried to argue that I abandoned him, but my lawyer, who I found through a women's legal aid clinic, presented all the documentation I'd saved. Marcus and Elena. Judge was not impressed with Derek. Especially after seeing the texts where he admitted to the affair, the bank records showing his spending versus his claimed poverty, and the hospital records showing my condition when he threw me out. Jade, what did the judge decide? Elena, temporary child support of $3,000 a month, pending final divorce settlement. Plus Derek has to maintain health insurance for Claire. And he's ordered to undergo mediation before any custody discussions happen. Marcus, that's excellent. Elena, it gets better. My lawyer filed a motion for Derek to repay all pregnancy-related medical expenses since he abandoned me while I was high risk. Judge granted it. All of it, including the emergency delivery. Jade, how much are we talking? Elena, $43,000. Marcus looks up sharply at the number, exactly what he'd saved for Jade's college. Elena, guaranteed, to Marcus, which means I can pay you back in full, immediately. Derek's lawyer is cutting the check this week. Marcus, Elena, that money is for you and Claire. For your future. Elena, and my future includes paying back the man who saved my life. Non-negotiable. She says it with such finality that Marcus knows arguing is useless. Marcus, accepting, okay. But on one condition. Elena, what's that? Marcus, you let us keep babysitting. Jade's gotten attached. Jade, very attached. Plus I need the practice for med school. Elena, laughing, deal. Though technically, I should be paying you for childcare. Jade, will call it even. 6 months later. The custody hearing. Derek sits with his expensive attorney, looking confident. Elena sits with her legal aid lawyer, calm and prepared. The judge reviews documents, all the evidence Elena collected, every screenshot, every receipt, every medical record. Judge Anderson, 60s, no patience for nonsense. Mr. Morrison, I'm trying to understand your position. You claim you deserve shared custody of a child you abandoned while your wife was 8 months pregnant with life-threatening complications? Derek's attorney, Your Honor, my client didn't abandon his wife. There was a separation, which is his legal right, and Judge Anderson, reading from documents, your client texted, and I quote, "I need you out before Vanessa arrives tomorrow. She doesn't need to see this drama." This was sent to a woman in pre-eclamptic crisis who ended up delivering in an emergency situation 3 days later. Derek, I didn't know how serious her condition was. Judge Anderson, according to these medical records, she told you explicitly. Multiple times. You chose not to believe her. Elena's lawyer, Your Honor, we've documented a pattern of financial control, emotional manipulation, and ultimately medical neglect. Mr. Morrison prioritized his extramarital relationship over his wife's life and his child's safety. Derek's attorney, my client, has since established stable housing and employment. He's prepared to provide for the child. Judge Anderson, with the same attention he showed during the pregnancy? Derek shifts uncomfortably. Judge Anderson, Siontide, here's what's going to happen. Primary custody to Ms. Morrison. Mr. Morrison gets supervised visitation, twice monthly, pending completion of parenting classes and therapy. Child support continues at current levels. Mr. Morrison pays all legal fees for both parties. Derek, standing, Your Honor, that's not fair. I have rights. Judge Anderson, Mr. Morrison, you forfeited certain rights when you threw your pregnant wife out in the rain. Be grateful I'm allowing any visitation at all. We're done here. The gavel falls. Derek's face goes red. He turns to Elena, anger in his eyes. Derek, low, vicious, you think you've won? You've got nothing. You'll always be nothing. Marcus, sitting in the gallery beside Jade, starts to stand. But Elena catches his eye, shakes her head slightly. She's got this. Elena, calm, clear, Derek, I have everything that matters. A daughter I love. People who showed up when it counted. And the knowledge that I survived you. She gathers her papers, walks past him without another glance. Outside the courtroom, she finds Marcus and Jade waiting. Jade, so? How'd it go? Elena, grinning, we won. Everything we asked for. Jade hugs her. Marcus smiles, proud in the quiet way he shows most emotions. Marcus never doubted it. Elena, liar. You were nervous. Marcus, maybe a little. But you handled it perfectly. They walk out together, this unconventional family that built itself from necessity and chose to stay together from love. 1 year later. The space is larger now, 2 bedrooms, a real living area. Baby Claire, now walking, toddles between Elena and Jade, who's helping her practice steps. Marcus arrives with dinner, Chinese takeout, their Friday tradition. Marcus, how was the promotion interview? Elena, good, I think. They seemed impressed with the freelance work I've been doing. If I get it, it's full-time, benefits, the whole package. Jade, you'll get it. You're too good not to. Elena's phone buzzes. She checks it, and her expression changes, something between vindication and weariness. Marcus, what is it? Elena, Derek's getting married. To Vanessa. The wedding announcement just went out. Jade, how do you feel about that? Elena, considering, honestly. Sorry for her. She thinks she's got something special. Doesn't realize she's just the next person in line until she becomes inconvenient. Marcus, you're not tempted to warn her? Elena, would you have believed someone if they'd warned you about Derek before you met him? Marcus, fair point. Elena, besides, I'm too busy building my own life to spend energy on his. He made his choices. I made mine. I know which set I'm happier with. Claire reaches Elena, grabs her leg for balance, looks up with absolute trust. Elena, Siontide, picking up her daughter, this is what matters. This right here. Not revenge. Not vindication. Just, this. Jade, still, must feel good knowing he has to cut you a support check every month. Elena, grinning, okay, yes. That part does feel pretty good. They laugh, easy, comfortable, the sound of people who've been through something difficult together and come out stronger. Marcus to survival. Elena to finding family in unexpected places. Jade to home. They eat dinner together, this chosen family, while outside the world continues its chaotic spin. But in this moment, in this space, there's only warmth and safety and the particular kind of love that comes from showing up when it matters.